Okay, so you've sent us a ton of stuff, like articles and research about
Yeah.
the future of Spanish in the U.S.
Right,
We're going to
right.
be talking about population growth, education trends, and the potential for the U.S. to become, well, the biggest Spanish-speaking country in the world.
It really is a fascinating subject. It's interesting. The U.S. already has a huge Spanish-speaking population, like 43.4 million people. 5 or older speak Spanish at home. That's 13.7% of the total population,
Oh,
which is already significant.
that's like more than the entire population of Canada.
Yeah.
And it's not just staying there, right? It's growing. By 2050, projections suggest that number could grow to over 50 million Spanish speakers in the U.S.
Yeah, if that happens, the U.S. would overtake Mexico as the country with the largest Spanish-speaking population globally.
Wow. That's just mind-blowing, really. It really makes you think
Okay.
about what kind of impact that's going to have on American society and culture. But let's zoom in a little bit. What does this mean for, like, you, the listener? Why should you care about these trends?
Well, for starters, think about the practical implications we're talking about. A rapidly expanding Spanish language media market, like a surge in demand for bilingual professionals, and the potential for greater cultural understanding and connection. Like across communities, these are real tangible benefits that could impact your life directly.
It's almost like unlocking a secret level. Imagine being able to connect with a whole new community, or like opening doors to exciting career paths simply by being bilingual.
Exactly. And it's not just about the Southwest anymore. While states like California and Texas have long been hubs for Spanish speakers, we're seeing this like ripple effect across the entire U.S.
Yeah, one of the sources mentioned Spanish language media and businesses, like
Mm.
popping up in unexpected places. Had you seen any examples of this?
Absolutely. For instance, there's been a rise in Spanish language radio stations and newspapers in the Midwest, catering to the growing Latino population in that region. And even in areas that are traditionally considered less diverse, you're seeing Spanish language signage becoming more common in businesses and public spaces.
Oh, that's a great point. It really highlights how this linguistic shift is happening nationwide, not just in these little pockets. Makes you wonder, could the U.S. actually be on its way to becoming a truly bilingual nation?
It's a possibility worth considering. Several factors point in that direction. One is the increasing number of young people who are retaining Spanish. As a heritage language, this isn't just about speaking with grandparents anymore. Younger generations are using Spanish in their social lives, online, and in their careers. This sustained usage is really key to a language's longevity.
Research mentioned heritage language programs in schools, and the sheer volume of Spanish language content that's available on digital platforms. That's contributing factors, so
Yeah.
it seems like these are helping to keep Spanish alive and relevant for younger generations.
Exactly. And as these younger generations grow up and become more influential, we could see a much more prominent role for Spanish in American society.
This brings us to another important aspect, the workplace. How is this growth of Spanish impacting career opportunities and the job market?
Well, it's becoming increasingly clear that bilingualism is a sought-after skill in numerous sectors. It's not just about fluency. It's about the ability to understand and connect with a broader range of people. This is valuable in fields like healthcare, where effective communication with Spanish-speaking patients is essential.
The sources also mentioned education as a key area where bilingual professionals are in high demand.
Hmm.
With the growing number of Spanish-speaking students, the need for teachers and administrators who can communicate effectively is only going to increase.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond those like obvious fields. Think about customer service, marketing, and even technology. As companies look to expand their reach and cater to a more diverse customer base, being able to communicate in Spanish becomes a major asset.
It's almost like having a secret weapon for career advancement. Those who can speak Spanish fluently are going to have a significant advantage in the job market, especially as the Hispanic population continues to grow and its buying power increases.
That's right. And it's not just about landing a job. It's about opening up opportunities for career growth and leadership roles. In a globalized world, being bilingual is no longer like a nice to have. It's becoming a necessity for those who want to succeed and thrive professionally.
It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. So for anyone listening who might be on the fence about learning Spanish, this is a huge motivator. It's an investment in your future. It's a way to expand your horizons and access a world of possibilities.
I couldn't agree more. The future is increasingly bilingual, and those who embrace this reality will be the ones who reap the most rewards. It's about staying ahead of the curve and positioning yourself for success in a rapidly changing world.
I like that. It's not just about learning a language. It's about embracing a mindset of
Yeah.
adaptability and openness to new experiences and opportunities.
Exactly. It's about being ready to engage with a world that's becoming increasingly interconnected and recognizing that language is the key to unlocking those connections.
So we've talked about the sheer scale of Spanish usage in the U.S., its potential to reshape society, and the tangible benefits it offers individuals. But there's another aspect we need to address, the misconceptions, and dare I say, myths, surrounding this linguistic shift. Many people worry that the growth of Spanish poses a threat to English, that it'll somehow diminish its importance.
That's a concern we hear often, but if we look at the historical data, it tells a different story. Immigrant languages, even those widely spoken, tend to decline by the third generation, so the idea that Spanish will overtake English is statistically improbable.
That's fascinating. It challenges the narrative of a language war, or one language dominating the other.
Exactly. It's not a zero-sum game. Embracing bilingualism isn't about diminishing English. It's about adding another layer of richness and diversity to the linguistic tapestry of the U.S.
And realistically, it's about recognizing the undeniable growth of Spanish and its impact on all aspects of American life.
Precisely. The data clearly indicates that Spanish is here to stay and is poised to play an even greater role in shaping the future of the U.S. So the question isn't whether Spanish will continue to grow, but how we as a society choose to respond to this growth. Will we see it as a threat or an opportunity?
That's a great point. I think that's a perfect place to pause for now. We've laid the groundwork, explored the trends and potential benefits, and even debunked some common myths. But there's so much more to uncover.
I agree. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the challenges and opportunities that come with this linguistic shift and delve into the deeper implications for you, our listener. So stay tuned. So we've established that. The growth of Spanish in the U.S. presents incredible opportunities, particularly in the professional sphere. But how does one tap into this potential? What does it really take to become proficient in Spanish and leverage those advantages?
That's a great question. You know, it can feel daunting, especially if you're starting from scratch. But what's exciting is that the way Spanish is being taught and learned is evolving. There's a growing emphasis on immersive experiences, using technology and authentic materials to make the process more engaging and relevant.
Exactly. Gone are the days of solely relying on textbooks and rote memorization. Now there are countless resources available, from language learning apps to online communities to cultural immersion programs. It's about finding what works best for you and your learning style.
One of the articles highlighted the effectiveness of engaging with Spanish language media, like watching movies, listening to music, even following social media accounts in Spanish, can significantly boost your comprehension and fluency.
Absolutely. It's about immersing yourself in the language, making it a part of your daily life. The more you surround yourself with Spanish, the more naturally you'll start to absorb it.
And it's not just about passively consuming content. Active engagement is key. Try having conversations with native speakers, even if it's just a few words at first. Join a language exchange group or find a tutor online. The key is to practice speaking and using the language as much as possible.
Those real-life interactions are crucial for building confidence and fluency. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's part of the learning process.
It's about embracing the journey,
Yeah.
right? Not just focusing on the destination, but enjoying the process of discovery and growth.
Exactly. And remember, learning a language is a lifelong endeavor. It's about constantly challenging yourself, expanding your vocabulary, and deepening your understanding of the culture.
It's not about reaching a finish line. It's about continuous exploration and enrichment. But let's shift gears for a moment. We've talked a lot about the individual benefits, but what about the broader impact of Spanish on American society? How is it shaping our cultural landscape?
It's fascinating to observe how Spanish is weaving itself into the very fabric of American culture. We see it in music, food, art, and literature. It's becoming increasingly difficult to imagine American culture without the influence of Spanish.
One of the sources mentioned this concept of like a cultural fusion happening,
Yeah.
where elements of Spanish and American culture are blending together to create something new and vibrant.
That's a great way to put it. Think about the popularity of Latin music, the prevalence of Spanish-inspired cuisine, or the growing interest in Latin American art and literature. These are all signs of a cultural exchange happening, enriching both sides in the process.
Like a two-way street where both cultures are influencing and inspiring each other, leading to a more diverse and dynamic cultural landscape.
Precisely. And this fusion goes beyond the arts. We see it in the way we communicate, the way we celebrate, even the way we think about ourselves and our place in the world.
It's really about expanding our understanding of what it means to be American, recognizing that American identity is multifaceted and constantly evolving.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the richness and complexity of our shared history and culture, acknowledging the contributions of all Americans, regardless of their language or background.
It's a beautiful vision, really. But are there also potential challenges or even downsides to this linguistic shift some people worry about? Social divisions or a sense of cultural fragmentation?
Those concerns are understandable. Any significant societal change comes with challenges. One potential issue is ensuring equitable access to resources and opportunities for both English and Spanish speakers.
Right, like making sure there are enough bilingual teachers, healthcare providers, and social services available to meet the needs of a growing Spanish-speaking population.
Exactly. And ensuring that vital information is readily available in both languages. Whether it's voting materials, legal documents, or healthcare instructions, accessibility is key to creating a truly inclusive society.
Another concern that often comes up is a potential for misunderstandings or miscommunications between English and Spanish speakers. How can we bridge that gap and promote effective communication across linguistic lines?
It starts with recognizing the importance of cross-cultural communication skills. It's not just about knowing the words, but understanding the cultural nuances and nonverbal cues that can influence how messages are received and interpreted.
It's about being mindful, respectful, and willing to learn from each other. Active listening, asking clarifying questions, and being patient are all crucial.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond individual interactions. We need to invest in language education and cultural awareness programs that promote understanding and empathy across different linguistic communities.
It's about fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose, recognizing that we're all part of the same society, striving towards common goals.
Exactly. And let's not shy away from addressing the elephant in the room. The potential for discrimination or prejudice against Spanish speakers. We've seen instances of xenophobia and intolerance directed toward those who speak languages other than English.
Sadly, that's true. And it highlights the need to actively combat these harmful attitudes and promote tolerance and inclusivity. It's about recognizing that diversity is a strength, not a threat.
Well said. Building a more inclusive society requires addressing these challenges head-on, fostering open dialogue, and challenging discriminatory beliefs and practices.
It's about creating a society where everyone feels welcome, respected, and valued, regardless of their language or background. A society where everyone has the opportunity to contribute their talents and perspectives.
That's a powerful vision, and it's within our reach if we're willing to put in the effort and make conscious choices that support inclusivity and understanding.
It's about recognizing that our differences are what make us strong, that embracing diversity enriches our lives in countless ways.
I completely agree. Now, shifting our focus back to the individual, what are some of the less obvious, perhaps even surprising benefits that come with learning Spanish?
That's a great point. We've talked about the career advantages and the cultural enrichment, but there's more to it than that. One of the sources mentioned the cognitive benefits associated with bilingualism.
That's right. Studies have shown that bilingual individuals tend to have better cognitive flexibility, improved problem-solving skills, and even enhanced memory. It's like giving your brain a workout, strengthening its ability to process information and adapt to new situations.
It's like having a mental edge. And it's not just about mental agility. Some research suggests that bilingualism can even delay the onset of cognitive decline and protect against age-related memory loss.
That's fascinating. It seems like learning Spanish isn't just good for your career prospects and your social life. It's good for your brain health as well.
It's like investing in a lifelong asset, a tool that will serve you well in countless ways throughout your life.
I think that's a key takeaway from this deep dive. It's about recognizing that learning Spanish isn't just a nice to have. It's a strategic advantage in a rapidly changing world. It's a way to connect with a growing community, expand your horizons, and potentially even gain a competitive edge in the job market.
It's more than just a language. It's a passport to a world of possibilities.
Exactly. It's about embracing the power of communication and understanding, recognizing that language is the bridge that connects us to new people, new ideas, and new experiences.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key insights you'd like our listener to ponder? What should they be thinking about as they consider the future of Spanish in the U.S. and its impact on their own lives?
I think the most important takeaway is that the growth of Spanish in the U.S. is an undeniable reality. It's shaping our culture, our economy, and our future in profound ways. And rather than viewing this shift with apprehension or fear, we should embrace it as an opportunity for growth, connection, and enrichment.
It's about recognizing that diversity is a strength, that bilingualism is an asset, and that embracing the Spanish language and culture can open doors to a world of possibilities.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, seeking out opportunities to learn and engage, and becoming active participants in shaping a future where language is a bridge, not a barrier.
I love that. It's about empowering ourselves and future generations to navigate a world that's becoming increasingly interconnected, where the ability to communicate across languages and cultures will be more valuable than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
We've covered so much ground already, like the scale of Spanish in the U.S., the benefits of bilingualism, and the importance of cultural understanding. But I keep coming back to this idea of what the future holds. Like, how will this linguistic landscape continue to evolve?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The future is always uncertain. But by looking at the trends and forces at play, we can try to get some insights into what might be ahead. One thing seems clear. Spanish is becoming more and more integrated into like the fabric of American life, beyond just the
It's
demographic.
not just about numbers, it's about influence and impact.
Exactly. We're seeing Spanish's growing presence in media, entertainment, business, even politics. This suggests a deeper integration, a blurring of lines between what we consider Spanish and what we consider American.
It challenges traditional notions of American identity and paves the way for a more inclusive and multifaceted understanding of what it means to be American.
Precisely. And this shift isn't happening in isolation. It's intertwined with broader social and cultural trends, like globalization, increased migration, and the rise of digital communication. These forces are breaking down barriers and fostering connections across languages and cultures.
It's like the world is getting smaller, more interconnected, and language is the key to navigating this new landscape.
Absolutely. So as we look to the future, it's important to consider not just the growth of Spanish in the U.S., but its role in a globalized world. The ability to communicate in Spanish opens doors to this huge network of people, ideas, and opportunities across continents.
It's not just about connecting with Spanish speakers within the U.S., but engaging with a global community.
Exactly. Think about the economic implications. Latin America is a rapidly growing market, and being able to communicate in Spanish is essential for businesses that want to tap into that potential. We're talking about trade, investment, and collaboration on a global scale.
It's about positioning yourself for success in a globalized economy where language skills are more valuable than ever.
Precisely. And beyond economics, there's the potential for greater cultural understanding and diplomacy. Being able to communicate across languages fosters empathy, breaks down stereotypes, and promotes peaceful collaboration.
It's about building bridges, not walls. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and finding common ground, even amidst our differences.
I love that. It's about fostering a sense of global citizenship, understanding that we're all interconnected, and that our actions have ripple effects across the world.
And this brings us back to you, the listener. What role do you envision yourself playing in this evolving landscape? How will you embrace the opportunities and navigate the complexities of a world where Spanish is increasingly prominent?
That's the challenge, but also the beauty of it. The future is unwritten, and we each have the power to shape it through our choices and actions.
So as we end this deep dive, we encourage you to consider, what steps can you take to embrace the growth of Spanish and leverage its potential in your own life, whether it's learning the language, engaging with Spanish-speaking communities, or simply becoming more aware of the cultural shifts happening around you. Every action counts.
Remember, it's not just about personal gain. It's about contributing to a more inclusive, interconnected, and vibrant world. A world where language is a bridge that connects us, rather than a barrier that divides us.
What a powerful message to end on. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with us today. This has really been eye-opening, exploring the future of Spanish in the U.S. and its implications for us all.
It's been a pleasure. I hope this deep dive has inspired you to keep exploring this fascinating subject and to embrace the possibilities that come with a multilingual, multicultural world.
And to you, our listener, we say keep learning, keep connecting, and keep shaping the future. The story is yours to tell.